Windows 11 engages in a specific set of behaviors that involve downloading content to user computers without explicit user consent. The behaviors are documented in Microsoft's own technical documentation for the operating system, though they are generally not prominently disclosed in the user-facing parts of the system. The behaviors include downloading updates, downloading optional components, downloading applications that Microsoft considers recommended, downloading advertising content, downloading definition files for various security tools, downloading machine learning models that the operating system uses for various features, and downloading content related to Microsoft's various cloud services. The cumulative effect of these background downloads for users with always-on internet connections is substantial data transfer that occurs continuously while the computer is running. The specific total amount varies by configuration and by specific user activity, but in typical cases, it is measurable in gigabytes per month. For users with metered connections, for users with concerns about what their computer is doing when they are not actively using it, and for users who simply want to understand what their operating system is doing, the background downloading activity is worth examining. I want to walk you through the specific categories of downloads, the specific mechanisms that control them, what the data is used for, and what settings you can change to limit the activity. Let me start with the specific categories of downloads. The first category is Windows Update. Windows Update downloads include security patches, feature updates, driver updates, and firmware updates. The downloads occur on a schedule that Microsoft controls with limited user influence. The specific schedule includes both expected updates, such as the monthly security updates that are delivered on the second Tuesday of each month, and unexpected updates, which are delivered at other times as specific issues are addressed. The specific size of Windows Update downloads varies, but in typical months it is several hundred megabytes to several gigabytes. The second category is optional updates, which include updates that Microsoft considers optional, but that the update system may download in preparation for installation even before the user has chosen to install them. The preparation downloads can include substantial amounts of data that may not ultimately be used. The third category is application downloads and updates. Microsoft Store applications that have been installed receive updates automatically unless the user has specifically disabled auto updates. The updates include both the Store applications that the user has explicitly installed and the Store applications that Microsoft has installed by default or through its recommendation system. The specific set of applications that are being updated in the background is often larger than users realize. The fourth category is the specific recommended applications that Microsoft's various Start menu and system recommendation systems promote. The recommendations are backed by actual downloads. When the Start menu or the setup experience suggests an application, the system may have already downloaded or partially downloaded the application to make installation fast if the user accepts. The downloads occur without explicit user consent to the download, though the subsequent installation would require user consent. The fifth category is telemetry definitions and cloud configuration files. Microsoft's various security and management tools download definition files, policy files, and configuration files from Microsoft's servers. The files are used by the local tools to apply Microsoft's current understanding of threats and best practices. The downloads are ongoing, and the specific content of the downloaded files varies as Microsoft updates its recommendations. The sixth category is advertising and commercial content. Various parts of the operating system, including the Start menu, the notification system, the Settings app, and the lock screen, display content that is delivered from Microsoft's servers. The content is downloaded continuously to support the various placements. The specific content includes advertisements for Microsoft products, suggestions for Microsoft services, promotional content for partners, and various other commercial messages. The seventh category is OneDrive synchronization. If OneDrive is configured, the synchronization activity involves continuous background data transfer between the local computer and OneDrive servers. The specific transfer includes files that the user has uploaded, files that are being synchronized across devices, and the metadata that OneDrive uses to manage the synchronization. The eighth category is various cloud-based AI and machine learning services that Windows 11 uses. Features including Windows Copilot, specific search features, specific accessibility features, and specific diagnostic tools rely on cloud services that require data to flow between the local computer and Microsoft servers. The flow includes both queries that the user is aware of, such as explicit questions to Copilot, and background flows that the features use to maintain their models and configurations. The ninth category is Game Pass and Xbox integration for users who have these features enabled. The integration includes downloading game updates, game data, and Xbox-related content. For users who actively use Xbox services, this is expected. For users who do not actively use Xbox services but have the integration enabled, the downloads may be unexpected. The 10th category is specific downloads that are tied to specific Microsoft 365 features. For users who have Microsoft 365 subscriptions, the applications download updates, synchronize content, and perform various cloud-connected activities that involve data transfer. Across these categories, the cumulative data usage on a typical Windows 11 system with default settings is substantial. Measurements I have seen from various users have shown typical monthly data usage from operating system background activity in the range of 1 to 5 gigabytes, sometimes more. For users with unlimited connections, this is invisible. For users with metered connections or capped connections, the data usage is meaningful and can affect their monthly bills. The specific mechanisms that control these downloads are varied, and the specific settings that can limit them are scattered across the operating system. Let me walk through the specific settings that are most useful. The first setting is the Windows Update configuration, accessible through Settings, Windows Update, Advanced Options. The delivery optimization settings control how updates are delivered, and the Pause Updates option can temporarily stop the update activity. The specific options are limited in what they allow, but they provide some control. The second setting is the metered connection configuration. If your internet connection is configured as metered, Windows will reduce the amount of data it uses for various background activities. The metered connection setting is available through the network configuration and affects the specific download behaviors of several Windows services. The third setting is the Microsoft Store configuration for app updates. Through the store, you can disable automatic app updates, which prevents the updates from downloading in the background. The specific setting is in the store's settings menu. The fourth setting is the Windows search and recommendation configurations. Through Settings, Personalization, Start, you can disable various recommendation systems that trigger downloads. Through Settings, Privacy and Security, you can disable various telemetry and feedback systems. The fifth setting is the OneDrive configuration for users who have OneDrive. OneDrive can be configured to synchronize only specific folders, to pause synchronization when on metered connections, and in some cases to be uninstalled entirely. The sixth setting is the Group Policy configuration, which is available on Windows 11 Pro and Enterprise editions. Group policies provide more granular control over various update and download behaviors than the Settings app allows. For users who are comfortable with group policy, this provides substantially more control. The seventh setting is the registry, which allows the most granular control over Windows behaviors. Registry edits can disable specific services, prevent specific downloads, and limit specific integrations. The trade-off is that registry edits can cause problems if done incorrectly, and they can be reset by Windows updates. For users who want comprehensive control over background downloads, the combination of these settings can substantially reduce the activity. The specific reduction depends on your tolerance for disabling features that you may use. A user who disables everything will have a system that is more self-contained, but that has fewer features. A user who disables only the most aggressive advertising and recommendation systems will retain most features while reducing the advertising-related downloads. The broader observation about Windows background downloading is that it reflects Microsoft's view of Windows as a service rather than as a product. A service, in this model, requires continuous connection to its vendor and continuous exchange of data. The operating system is not static software that a user installs and then owns. It is an ongoing relationship that the user has with Microsoft, mediated by the software on the user's computer. The background downloads are the specific mechanism by which the relationship is maintained. For users who are comfortable with this model, the downloads are acceptable. The services that the model enables, including always up-to-date software, integrated cloud features, and personalized experiences, are real benefits. The trade-off of accepting the downloads to receive the benefits is a reasonable choice if it is a conscious choice. For users who are not comfortable with this model, the specific settings I have described allow various degrees of reduction. The reduction is not complete. Windows is fundamentally structured around the service model, and fully disconnecting it from Microsoft's servers is not practical without moving to a different operating system. For users who want complete control over what their computer downloads, the alternative is Linux, which can be configured to download only what the user explicitly authorizes. Subscribe for the next video, which provides a specific walkthrough of configuring Windows 11 to minimize background downloads, with the specific settings to change, the specific order to change them in, and the specific tests you can run to verify that the changes have taken effect. And in the comments, tell me whether you have measured your Windows background data usage and what the measurements showed. The specific data is useful for understanding the scale of what is happening, and the aggregate picture across many users is more informative than any single user's experience.